Hello everybody, this is Kiran and today we are going to learn about MySQL commands. So let's begin and see how are we using the MySQL commands for helping us do the backend validations and database testing. So here we go. This is the scope of our today's class. We'll be learning about how to create databases, and then how to create tables, and how are we actually using select statements. Now, create database. So how do we actually create databases in SQL? For using any command, we need a MySQL Workbench, which we'll be using for creating databases, creating tables, for using select statements, inserting data into the tables, and a lot more commands. So let's first use MySQL Workbench and then see how to apply these commands onto that. So this is MySQL Workbench. I have already installed in my system. So we'll log into it. We have to click on this root user. And it will ask, because I've already saved my password, so it didn't ask for the password this time, but it will ask for the password with which you have to log in, and then you can see this portal which is open on my screen. Now let me create a new query tab for you. So that's how we'll be doing. We'll create a database. We'll then see all the databases available. Then we'll create tables inside that database, and then we'll insert data into the tables, and then we'll use select queries and many queries. So let's begin with it. So this is a MySQL Workbench portal where you have various options. So for now, what we are doing, we are clicking on File option and clicking on New Query tab. So my new query section is here. Here I'll be writing queries and I'll see the result sets. So for now, let me show you how many databases are available. So I'll do a command which is show database. Okay. So show, show command, and then databases, BASES, and then I'll put a semicolon. And I have to execute this command to see how many databases are available. For executing it, I have to click on this symbol which you can see here, execute lightning symbol. So I have to just click on it, and I can see the result sets. So you can see there are two, one is action output, where I have been shown that okay, this query got executed fine or not. So yes, there is a green tick that this query was executed well. And then there is a result grid where I am getting the set of result sets which I am expecting to see. So you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 databases available. So I have these many databases. I can use any of these databases and then I can work upon it, or I can create my own database too. Okay. So this is how show databases command work. So you have to open your MySQL Workbench. You have to go to File, then click on New Query tab. New Query tab. Your New Query tab opens, and there you have to write show databases and then semicolon. Okay. So if we just quickly make our notes. Here we go. Now let's go back and we'll create database so that we can create our own database. So for creating database, we'll be writing create database and database name. So create command, database keyword, and the database name. So let's say we'll name it as iNeuron training. So this is a database name, iNeuron training. So I'll just put a semicolon and I'll execute this query. So you see the action output section. Here there is a successful checkbox on the successful running of the query, and on we get a result, one row affected. So basically we have got one database created. So now I can, if I write again show database basis and then semicolon, and if I execute this query, you'll see that we get iNeuron training also added up in the list of the databases which we have. So you can see here iNeuron training is also listed now. So we have listed all the available databases. So we have iNeuron training successfully created now. Now what we have to do, we have to use this database. So we want to create tables inside this database. So we'll be using this database. So for particular database, I have to use the command use and then the database name. So database name is iNeuron training. And then I'll put a semicolon and I'll just execute this query so that we enter into that database. So you see a successful running of this and we are already inside this database now. So what I'll do, I'll create a table inside this database. So when I create a table, after that we can insert data into that table and we can do multiple things. So I'll just make notes for the new commands which we have written here. So for creating database, we are using this command. So this is used to create database. And to use the database, you'll be using the use command and the database name. So we're not using the keyword here. We are directly using use command and the database name to use the particular database. Now we'll create a table. So for creating a table, what command do we use? So create, then table name, create table keyword, and then table name. Let's say the table name is employee. Create table name, and then we have to give all the column names which we have to mention inside. So let's say, so what we're doing, create table name, and then we have mentioned all the column names which we want to have inside our table. So we want to have an ID of an employee. We also want to have the first name, the last name, email ID, address of that employee, salary, and the department. So these are the column names which we want to have in our table. So I have mentioned those. Now we have to also mention the data types which we want to associate along with the column names, because it's very important that what kind of data you want to enter inside your columns. So there are major three data types which we are using in MySQL. One is int, one is varchar, and the third one is date. So you can see here int we have used with anything which needs integer entry. So ID will be int. First name varchar. So the default we have put 250 characters. We can change it accordingly. Last name again varchar. Email ID is also varchar. We can have characters and integers, varchar. Address is again varchar. Salary we want in the integers, so yes, int. And department is also varchar. So we'll run this query into our MySQL Workbench. Here we go. We'll paste it here and you'll see that new table is created. So I'll execute this query and you see that 0 rows affected. So if you want to fetch anything from this table, so for fetching, the command uses select command. So now once the table is created, we can use select query to fetch data from the table. So if we apply a select query now, there won't be any data retrieved back because there is no rows created right now. So what we'll do, we'll get 0 results. So let's just see. I'll write a select statement, select star from table name. So table name is employee. And I'll execute this query. So this should be executed and there's a message fetching appears here and I have got select star from employee and there are 0 rows returned because there are no rows. So for what next we need to learn is how to insert data into the table. So let's learn that how do we insert data, and once we have enough data into our table, we'll be able to see the rows. Now if you can see here in the result grid, we got the table back but with 0 entries. We got ID, first name, last name, email ID, address, salary and department. That's where those were the column names which we created, isn't it? So yeah, here they are. So what we do now, next we learn how to insert data into the table first, and then we will learn how to apply select queries on the table. So for inserting data, the syntax is insert into table name, values, and then we have to insert. So I'll just show you. For inserting data, we write this query. So you can see here, insert into table name, and then all the column names which we have mentioned in our table. And then there is a keyword values, and inside that we'll be mentioning all the values which we want to enter. So that is the row entry. So let's see if they are matching or not. So there are a lot of questions which might arise from this query statements. So we'll understand them. So for now, let's see, insert into table name, which was employee. So here our table name is employee. It's case sensitive here. So ID, first name, last name, email ID, address, salary, department. So ID was an integer, if you remember. See here, ID we entered as int. So for that, what we have to do now is we have to mention ID as, let's say, some integer number. So if we enter anything apart from integer, we'll get an error. So we'll see all those conditions also. So for now, can you just we'll just do the positive scenarios. So we have entered 1 as the ID. First name of the employee is Kiran and the last name is Sahu. The email ID is kiran.sahu@gmail.com. Let's say. Okay. So and then there is an address. So let's say I have put the address as a city name, which is Delhi, let's say. Okay. And so we'll apply here capital D. So capital and small will matter how, I'll tell you, because once we are doing the sorting of the data, so let's say you have people belonging to different cities, and now you want to see the alphabetical order. So it would take the ASCII value. So it would be important that we enter all the entries in either capitals or small. Only then the ASCII value will be adhered to. So what is ASCII value? We'll understand that. For now, just understand that we have entered capitals in all the entries. Email address, of course not. So Delhi, and then after that there is salary. So let's say I have put some 80,000 as the salary, and department is manual testing. Okay, so manual testing is the department. So I'll just run this query and I'll see that there is one row added on to our table. So if I execute this query quickly, you will see, okay, there's some error which we got. Let's try to find out the error. It says insert into this values. You have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that, okay, so we have to find out the issue which we are facing. So we wrote the table name as correct, employee. So we'll remove this double quotes from the table, okay, because it's the table name. So you have to write like that, and then I'll execute the query. So you can see here it got perfectly executed. I got the green check and also one row affected. Now if I run this select star from employee, I should get this entry into my table. So we'll see that also quickly. So I did that, and you can see in the result grid, I could see the new entry as one of the rows into my table. Okay. So now similarly, we'll be entering multiple data, and then we'll play around with the data and see how beautifully select query is able to fetch the different data sets what we want from the table. So this will be dealing with one table right now. Okay, so we'll be applying select queries for multiple reasons and for multiple result sets. But before that we need data. So we'll enter as many data as we can. So let's put more insert queries and then we'll be able to play around with the data. Now let me add more insert queries. So I'll just copy this query what I have written and I'll change the data set. So let's say, so this will remain same. Okay, this statement remain, only the values change. And also for now I have not created any primary key into our table. So we'll learn about primary key and then we'll create a table with the primary key. Then you'll understand how different a table having a primary key is. So if there is a primary key in a table, we cannot leave that column as empty, or we cannot repeat, or that is we cannot have duplicate values in that column for any of the rows. So that is something which we will learn in the upcoming sessions. For now we have to understand we have created a simple table and the create statement was having this create table and the table name, and then we have put all the column names and their respective data types into the create statement. Now here what we are doing, we are inserting the entries. So ID I have changed as 2. Even if I put it as 1, it will not throw an error because we have not marked any of the column as the primary key. But had we marked it, it would have thrown an error, right? So 2, then last name will change. So let's say we have more people in the team, so we can name it as Amit and the last name is Kumar. So we'll just change this to amit.kumar @gmail.com, and we'll change the place to Mumbai, let's say, and we'll change the salary also, let's say 90,000, and the department as Selenium. Okay, so I've changed some data sets. We can repeat it also based on our requirements. I'll execute this and we can see one more row added. Similarly, I can add 10 rows and then we can, so this person is also in Mumbai, let's say, salary 70,000 and manual testing. Okay, let's add more data so that we can have enough permutations and combinations of data we need. So fourth person, what we are, just a second, 4. So we'll be adding Neha Pandey. Okay, so neha.pandey@gmail. So this email ID can be anything. Okay, pandey.neha, let's say, no problem. This person is belonging to Kolkata and her salary is also 80,000 and she's from the MySQL department. So here we go and we'll execute this query and I'll add more data. 5, that's right, her name is Shweta. Let her surname be Pandey as well. Okay, Shweta. So I'm changing the email address and let her city be Delhi and let her pay be some 50,000 and let her department also be we can mark it as performance testing. Yeah, performance testing. We can change according to our requirement. Now I'll create another data whose name will be same as that of an existing employee. It is possible, right? So let's do that. So employee number 6, I guess, should be Shweta, but her surname is different. Let her surname be Menon, and her email ID is shweta.menon@gmail.com, and she belongs to Kolkata, and her salary is 90, and she's from Selenium batch itself. Okay, so that is the 6th entry to the table. Let's make some 7th entry. So we'll name the person as Surabhi Kumar. So we can just change the surname, email address to anything, surabhi.kumar. So that's how we are creating data. Now we will check. Okay, let her belong to a city called okay, maybe she's from Chennai, and her salary be 1 lakh, and she's from API testing. So we have different departments, isn't it? So we got 7 entries. So let's hold on for now. 7 is enough. So what I'll do, I'll run the query. Which query? Select star from employee, isn't it? So if we do select star from employee, we'll get how many rows now? 7 rows should be fetched. So let me run it for you. Here we go. So I have run the query select star. So if you can see at the end, select star is a green check that it got executed successfully. 7 rows were affected also, and the result is here in the result grid. You can see here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 results were fetched from the employee table, and I have IDs as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, first names as and second name as this. I'll just quickly check the data also. So whatever I have entered, yes. And the email addresses are also unique. You can see the addresses are not unique, but then different for different people. They can belong to the same state, that's city, that's fine. Salaries can be same or different. Departments can be same or different. So here we have tried to keep the ID unique and the email address unique, but we have not marked the columns as a primary key or unique key. So in that case, they will not wait if we enter any duplicate data or not enter any data. So that is how insertion of the data is happening, and simple select query is working. Now we'll play around with the inserting of the data, and we'll see what our errors we get, and we'll also see how select query works, how differently we can apply conditions to the select query and fetch different data sets. Okay. Now with insertion, we'll see more combinations. So for that, let's go back to our notes and see how much we have added on to it. So we added on how to see all the databases. We also saw how to create database. Then we have to use that particular database. So for that, we have to use query. Then we created a table, and then also inserted data. Now we'll know and learn how to insert multiple data at the same time. So till now we were inserting each row individually. Now we can enter multiple rows. How do we do? Insert into, so table name. So table name is employee here. So insert into table name, and then there will be all the column names whichever we want to insert data into. So all those will be mentioned here. So and then values, and then we can give the list of values, and they're going to give a comma, and then again a certain set of values, and then the comma, and again a certain set of values. So as many number of values you want to, as many number of rows you want to enter, you can give in comma separated sets. So how we are doing it? Insert into table name and then all the column names where you want to insert the data, and then values, and then I have given 8, 9 and 10. So if we go back to our table and you see the result sets, we have, I'll make it bigger. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We already have 7 data. So I have put 8, 9 and 10 there so that it can be easily, here we go. So 8, 9 and 10, and then all the data I have entered. We'll run this query and see if it works fine. Okay, we'll go here, we'll paste this query here. Hope there's no errors. I'll do a quick check on that. So we have put the name as this, and I have also changed the surname here, but I will change the email ID also so that there's no unique check applied, but if unique check was applied in that case. So Aman Sharma is the email ID. I'll change the email ID here. Here we go. Mumbai 90,000 API testing. Karan Sinha. So we'll change the email ID here. Karan.Sinha @gmail.com, and then the address and the salary and the department. We'll run this query and we'll see how many rows are added up. Here we go. So we'll see the action output first. Okay, for that I have to elaborate the console part so that you get an idea. So you can see, yes, there were 3 rows affected. So what we have to do now, select query so that you can get a view of the table. So here we go and execute it. So now you get a result grid where you have 10 data sets, if you can see here. So we have data inside all the rows here now. So our table is ready. Now we can easily apply select queries and have a look on how it works. So that was about creating table and inserting data into the table. Now select queries, how to fetch all the data is select star from the table name. So we'll make it in the notes section. We'll put it in the notes section for you. So for select all data from the table, so what you have to do, select star. So that's what you have to do for selecting all the data. So this notes will also be shared with you. So you have the select star from table name. Now, if we want to see a particular set of data, if you don't want to see all the data, so let's say you only want to see first names. So you will execute the query so that we see what's the result set. So here we go, and we see only the first names listed. Now what we have to do is apply a where clause along with the select query so that we can do conditional searches or conditional fetching also. But before that, if we want to play around with more of the column names, we can do that. So let's say we want to select only this. We want to see how many cities, we want to list down all the cities. So we can simply write select address. So you have to know the column name properly. Okay, address from employee, as simple as that. So in that case, you'll get the list of the cities people belong to. Here we go. So we easily see, okay, there's Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi. So you can see this result which is appearing here is a list of all the places where people are belonging to, but it's not distinct. Okay, so if you only want to see the list of places to which people belong to, distinct name, like as in you can see Mumbai twice because this is as per the rows entry, as per the row entries. So if there are 2 rows which belong to Mumbai, there will be twice, the Mumbai will be twice, and in fact Delhi is also twice, Kolkata is also more than once. Yeah, so that's how it is listed, isn't it? So what we have to do now is Here we go. So what we have to do, apply a keyword which is called distinct. So select distinct. Oh, I'll just write. Select distinct address from employee. So in that case, what will happen? Only the non-duplicate values will be listed. Okay. So distinct is a very useful keyword which helps us get unique data sets. So let me run this query for you. And here we go. So this. Okay, so there's an error because there is a spelling mistake in the column name. So it has to be address double D. Okay, so it's very much specific about everything. So we have to write the spellings correctly. And now you see addresses are listed down here, but we don't have repeated rows. So Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai and Kerala. So only the distinct addresses appeared here. So that's how we can use the distinct keyword. So let's say we want to see how many distinct first names are there. Let's see. Okay, so if we run this query, select first name, you will see how many rows are fetched. Okay, here we go. So if we see that, okay, there are some 10 rows will be fetched, right? Because we have 10 entries in our table. So 10 rows will be fetched, but okay, here we go. Now, but if we want to see only the distinct name, unique names in the company, so how do we do that? So in that case, I will just add a word distinct to this query set and it will show me distinct. Okay, here we go. Distinct first name, distinct first name from the employee. Okay, so we'll run this query and see only distinct names. That's how distinct query is. Distinct keyword is helpful. So see, now you can see only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 distinct names. There are 2 names which are repeating in our table. So that is fine. So we get only 8 distinct result sets. And yeah, so that's the use of distinct keyword. Now we'll use where clause, as I said. Now let's say I want to, I'll again run the select star query. So in case, let me write it here so that it's, okay. So now we'll be adding where clause. So select, let's say, let me run this query for you so that you get to know the result set. How is the result set looking like? Now I want to see the, we want to see the data of the people who belong to manual testing. So only people belonging to the manual testing department. That can be a requirement, isn't it? So it's as simple as that. We have to write select star from employee. Where is the clause? This is a very important clause. Where clause, where department. So you have to properly write the name of the column. Department is equals to, because you only want to see people belonging to manual testing department. So you'll be writing the name of the manual testing. Oh, that's fine. And there's a semicolon. And we have to run this. Here we go. So the results show we have 3 people who belong to the manual testing department. So that's what is happening, isn't it? So if I show you the table on another query set. So let's say I use database. What was the database name? iNeuron training, if I'm not wrong. So if I run this, so here we go. Yeah, and I'll write select star from employee. So I'm writing it in another query tab, another query tab, so that I can show you this list all the time. I'm using the different layouts, guys, for showing you a proper view. Okay, here we go. We have a proper list of people. Now we'll go back to the another previous tab and we can just compare. So now you can see the entire list here in our SQL file 6. So we are working on SQL file 5 now. So what you can do, you can have a look on this and count manual testing. So we have written a query for fetching people who belong to manual testing group, right? Or department. So we have written select star from employee where department is equals to manual testing, right? So we are getting only 3 result sets. We'll go and check into the entire table. See, usually the tables in any database will be very huge and a lot of data will be there. You won't be able to manually check it. But for now, I'm trying to explain you this and help you understand the queries with a smaller table so that you can calculate yourself, so that you understand how it works. But in real time, you won't be able to calculate the data yourself manually. You'll have to trust on the query and you have to write proper queries. So here we go, 1, 2, and 3. Yes, 3 people are into the manual testing. Their data is presented here exactly, in the same order. Now let's say we don't want to see all the data, all the columns for those people. So what we can do, we can only choose whatever columns we want to see. Let's say select first name, last name, okay, comma, and salary, comma, from table name, of course, where department is equals to manual testing. Got it? So what we're doing, we are only writing we are not writing star here. We are writing column names and we are separating it with commas and just giving our where clause, whatever condition we want to apply. So let's do that and let's run this query and see if we are getting only first name, last name, and salary. Here we go. Yes, first name, last name, and salary for the 3 people. So here is the result of the previous query. So we have asked only for first name, last name, and salary for the from the employee table where the department is manual testing. So we can only see first name, last name, and salary. So that's how we can either fetch all the data using star or selected columns as per our requirements. Now let's play around with select query more. We can apply where clause. So what we have to do, we have to check the table like this. Okay, now we want to see the people who have salary. So far we have applied equal to operator, if you can see here. So we want to see the people who are having salary greater than 80,000. Okay, so greater than 80. So we can apply these operators also along with the where clause. So that is also something which you have to learn. So let's do that. So same query will be applying, but so let's say we do it with star. Select star from employee where department, no, this time it will be salary, is greater than, so it's an integer, so no need of this thing, single quotes, so 80,000. Okay, so we run this and we'll see how many result sets are fetched. Here we go. So we can see some around 5 rows are returned back. So you can see here 90, 90, 1 lakh, 90, and so all the salaries are greater than 80,000. So if you want to see or include salaries also of greater than or equal to 80,000, we can do that also using different operators. So that's how we'll be doing. So you are getting all the salaries or data of all the people drawing salaries which are greater than or equal to 80,000. So 80,000 is also included in this. Now we can do less than also. So let's say less than, we'll apply. Let's say we write less than 50,000. So this should draw us 0 result set, as there is nobody drawing that. So we get 0 result as there is no one drawing less than 50,000. But if we write equal to also here, less than equal to, we'll get one data set because there is one person who is drawing equal to 50,000. So that's how you can apply different operators, which is equal to, greater than, equal to, less than equal to, not equal to. So any operators can be applied with along with the where clauses as per our requirements. So that is something which you can do now. So let's have a look on the PPT also. So here the PPT says that we have 3 data types for creating any table, which is numeric, text, and date and time. We have already discussed this. Then for the select query, the syntax of the select query matters, and we have to know the chronology for writing the select query. Very importantly, we will be learning all the things in this entire query one by one. So right now we have only learned a part of the select query, but we have to add on more to it. So we have learned till where clause. So if you look at my screen, select query is used to fetch data from the table. It is a part of DML language, the data manipulation language, and it's for fetching some data set from the entire table, so that as per the, we can see some data as per the requirements. So if you want to fetch some particular type of data or some particular condition on the data, we can apply it and see it. So if you can see on my screen, the select query syntax says, before that, data manipulation language, what is DML and what is DDL and what is DCL will be explained in the later sessions. So for now we are just understanding that there are 3 types of statements or queries. So DML select lies under the DML data manipulation, because here we are actually working on the data and fetching data and having manipulating the data. So it is a part of DML statements. Now the syntax for writing the select query is select, either distinct or all. So we saw that, yes, we fetched star, we used star for fetching all the data sets, so all. And we also used distinct keyword in our tables, and we could fetch the distinct unique data sets also, isn't it? Okay. So after that we have to write from table name. So as is also used to change the aliases, but we'll understand that later on. So from table name and where condition. So where is used for conditional result sets. So where, then we have to apply the condition. Let's say you are wanting to look for the people belonging to a particular department only. So where department equals to this. So that will be the condition. Then there is something called group by. So we'll be learning about it. Group by is used to group based on the columns. So we'll learn about it. And group by is having another clause which is called having. So as select is having a clause which is where, group by associates with having, and then we can apply order by for sorting. So this chronology has to be maintained. You cannot jumble the appearance of, so let's say you want to have both order by and group by in a select query. It has to have group by first and then order by. So this is very important to understand here, that when you are writing a select query, you have to follow these steps, that you have to write select first and then where clause first, then group by first, then having and then order by. So you cannot jumble them. So that's the trick which you have to understand and learn here. And then moving forward, there are examples of select query. So these all things have been mentioned, what we were explaining in the previous slide about select queries syntax. And what is where clause? Of course, we have to restrict the number of data sets which we are seeing. So for that, we apply conditions using the where clause. So select star from table name where some condition you have to mention. Okay, where can also be used with logical operators. So there are logical operators and, or, not, isn't it? So we have to use and, or on the where clause. We can use them. Now we have to understand how and or works. So if we take our notes section and we try to understand this. So if you see and operator, okay, so and operator gives us a true result set when both inputs are true. So imagine you can apply for a form if you belong to India and you are above 25 years of age. So these are the two conditions which needs to be satisfied for applying for a form or a job. So if you belong to India, yes, true, and you are above 25 years, yes, then you can apply for this job. So true. Okay. Now let's say you belong to India but you are below 25, so one of the conditions is false here, so your result set will be false in that case. Similarly, if you don't belong to India plus you are above 25 years, but in that case also you'll get a false result because it is an and operator where both the conditions have to be true. And if you don't belong to India and you don't you're not above 25 years, then anyways your result will be false. So that's how and operator works, where both the conditions or all the conditions have to be true. Now if you talk about the or operator, how it works as any one of the conditions can be true. So here let's say you can apply for a job if either you belong to India or you have scored 80% and above. In both the cases you can apply. So let's say you belong to India and you have also scored 80% and above. Of course you will be eligible to apply for this job. So the result will be true in that case, of course. And let's say you belong to India but your score is below 80%. But in that case also you can apply because only one of the conditions needed to be true, and that's happening here. Sorry. Now let's say you don't belong to India and but your score is above 80%, so you can in that case also you can apply for the job. But one condition where you don't belong to India or you don't have your percentage meeting which is 80%, so in that case you'll get a false result set because either one of has to be true. If both are false, then in that case it is certainly false. So that's about and or gates. So we can apply these operators along with the where clause. We'll see how. Moving back to this. So let's see how to use where clause along with the logical operators and an or. So let's say we'll go back to the table and we'll see we want to know the names of, or we want to know the data of all the people who are from Delhi and are into manual testing. So there are two conditions which we are applying. We need these two conditions to be true. So for that we'll apply and operator. So we want people to be from Delhi and also belonging to the manual testing department. So how will the query look like? It will be select star from employee where address is equals to Delhi. So we have to apply and operator here, and department is equals to manual testing. So these two conditions both needs to be true. So we want to run this and see. So we'll select it and execute it. So we get the result set as only one row because only one person is belonging to Delhi and is also a part of manual testing department. So if you can just check the table once, so we'll see all the people who are from Delhi first. So yes, this person is from Delhi. There are more people from Delhi, like Shweta Pandey is also from Delhi, but she is not fulfilling the second condition, which is belonging to manual testing department. So this is gone. This row won't be fetched. Any other person from Delhi? No. So there is only one result set. So that's how our AND operator works. Now let's go back and use OR operator. So we want to know the names of the people who are either from Delhi or they are from API testing. So if any one of these conditions are true, so let's say you want to apply for a training, so somebody, you need somebody who is in Delhi, or somebody who is doing API testing from all over India. So either one of the condition is true, then it will be true. So how do you use this type of query? So what we can do is, we'll just copy this. So you want to know the name of all the data of all the people who are either from Delhi, we'll be using OR operator here, or the department is API testing. I'll quickly, yeah. So what do? We run this query and we'll see how many rows are fetched in this query. So we see that there are, okay, hang on. Okay. So we get around 4 entries here, if you can see on my screen. So why 4? Because we'll first check that people are from Delhi, so we'll be fetching that, of course. So Delhi, yes, true. Delhi, yes, true. API testing, yes, true. API testing, yes, true. So there are 4 rows which are fulfilling either one of the 2 conditions. So if we go back to our table and see, so we can see here, yes, Delhi, and anybody in Delhi is from the API testing department. No, then also it's not a problem. We can only see API testing and also fetch it. So that's how an OR operator works. Let's go back to our slide PPT and then see what's next in this. So here we go. So we did AND operator. We also talked about OR operator. There is a keyword called in, which is very useful in MySQL. So what happens, sometimes you don't know exactly what condition you want to apply, but you have some idea on some keywords. So what you can do, say, let's say you are confused that I think I want to know the names of the people from Delhi, Kolkata or Chennai. So you're not very sure that you want to know the data and details of a person who belongs to so you just have a vague memory that, okay, this person was either from Delhi or Kolkata or Chennai. So you don't know the exact how to extract the exact result. So you have some vague idea. So what you can do, you can use the in keyword there. That's okay. Select start from employee where address in, and then you can give comma separated value. So whatever number of values you want to give. So in case where we are not very sure on how many inputs we want to apply for the search results, so we can use in keyword and give comma separated values and get the results based on all the values which we have given inside the in keyword. So there is in and not in, both. So in is used in case we have some set of data using which we want to search. So when we are not very, we don't have a range of data, we just know some data sets, so we can use it inside the in keyword and get the result sets. It's a very useful keyword in MySQL. So we can get an example, we can see an example using the in keyword. Similar to in, we also have not in. So suppose you know that this person is not from Delhi or Mumbai, so you're very sure about that. Okay, this person is not from Delhi or Mumbai, and you don't know the exact location of the person. So you can use this keyword not in and then see the result data or result set which is coming. So we will apply both in and not in and we'll see. Okay, so going back to our Microsoft Workbench, here we go. So we'll apply. So first we want to know the names of the people who are from Delhi, Mumbai and Kolkata. So let's say, okay, so we'll quickly copy this to save time. So our address in, so what you want to do, Delhi, Mumbai and Kolkata. Okay, so you'll comma separated you will give. So here we go. Now we have to just execute this query. So when we execute, we'll get a list of all the people who are either from Delhi or Mumbai or Kolkata. So it's taking only these values which we have mentioned inside the in keyword. Similarly, if we want to use not in, how do we do that? So we'll just copy this query again to save time. Now we want to see the list of people who are not in these cities. Okay, so we'll simply use not in and we'll execute this. So you can see here, we got people who are not in any of these cities, Delhi, Mumbai and Kolkata. So there are only two people who are outside these cities. One is from Chennai and the other one is from Kerala. So if we go back to our table and check, yes, everybody is from either Delhi, Mumbai or Kolkata except Surabhi, who is from Chennai, and Kerala, who is Karan. So that's where how we use not in keyword. Okay. Now let's move forward with the PPT and see what's more there. Now we can also use comparison operators. We have already seen that, like we have already been using equal to, as in select star from employee where address equals to Delhi. So we have to fetch people belonging to Delhi. So address equal to. So you want to exact match address as Delhi, no other place. So equal to is used for exact matching. That's it. Okay. Now there is greater than. So if you want to know the people who are, or the data of the people who are drawing salaries higher than 90K, so greater than, lesser than, and greater than equal to, lesser than equal to. Or if you want to know the gender of the people, so select star from members where gender equals to female. Had we had a gender column, we don't have it right now, we can add more columns also. So we'll also learn how to add more columns, how to add data into the new columns, what happens when we don't enter any data into a new columns. It's very interesting further, guys. So we'll see that. So where gender equals to females, so we have used equal to. There is of course greater than and equal or less than. Not equal to is also there. So if you can see two arrows opposite, so select star from, let's say there was a table called movies where category ID is not equals to 1. So this is just an example. So one of the columns we have taken. So in our table what we can do is not equal to, we can quickly write select star from employee. So you want to see the list of people except for API testing. Okay, so with department, then you can do this not equals to and department name, which is API testing. So you want to see all the data except API testing. Okay, so you can run this query and you can get the results as accordingly. So not equal to is also helpful in case you want to check out one of the and one of a particular data entry. So let's say you want to see list of people who are not in Delhi, everywhere but not in Delhi. So not equals to address not equals to Delhi. So that's how you can run. So here we go. We got list of all the people, data for all the people from different departments but not in API testing. Okay. Going back to the PPT. Okay, so this is a summary of what we have learned so far. Now we have already seen how to insert data into the table, but now we'll also see what issues can happen when we try to enter wrong entries or insert incorrect data type into the table or incorrect number of columns into the table. So we learn that using insert queries. So we know the syntax of insert query by now, which is insert into table and then column 1, column 2 till column n, values, then value of column 1, column 2 till column n. Now what happens in different scenarios? Okay, so let me mention few scenarios. Before that, we have also discussed about the data types. So while creating, we mentioned the data types in the table. So here you can see there is string data type, numeric data type and date data types, what we are entering into the columns. Now moving forward. Now if we can insert data one by one using insert into table, then column names and values, and then again insert into tables, column names and values, or we can also insert multiple columns at one go. That's what we have already done, that insert. I'll just quickly show you so that you remember. Here we go. Here this one, insert into table and all the column names and values, and we have comma separated and we have entered all the rows. So this is multiple entry. We have already done that. Now going back to the PPT. in this example, what is mentioned is, so suppose we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but the values what we are mentioning is only 4. Okay, now what happens in that case? So let's check our table for that example. Here we go. So we saw that our table consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 columns. Now we'll name 7 columns, but we'll give values only for 6. What happens in that case? So let's do it and see. Now here is the insert query. I'm trying to insert one more data into my table. For that, I'll write something like this. And I have put in 7 columns, but I will only enter 6 data sets. So let's say I'll write 11 here, and I'll change the name also, Sana, and Sarkar. We can name, change the email address. And the city is fine, which is Chennai or any other city is fine. Then there's salary 1 lakh, and the department remains, let's say I'm not putting in department. Okay, now we have given the column as a department, but we have not entered anything in that case. So what happens in that case? Now let's execute this query and see what happens. You are already getting a, hang on, executing this query gives an error. It says we have to remove this comma and we have to execute it now. That was a compilation. The syntax was wrong altogether. Now we'll just run it. Now we again got an error saying that column count doesn't match the value count at row 1. So that's what you have to understand, that you cannot have different number of column numbers and value numbers. Okay, so if you have 7 column, you have to have 7 entries. That's it. Okay, so this is condition number 1. So what we do, we'll just quickly write in the notes section so that you get an idea. Insert query conditions. So what's happening here? Number 1 condition is equal columns and values. So it will be able to, of course, enter, right? Now second is inserting multiple columns at one go, right? So you did that also. Third condition is column numbers are greater than values. So let's say there are example, there are 7 columns and only 6 values are entered, right? So in that case, what happens? You'll get an error message. And what's the error message? So the error message says column count does not match the value count at row number 1. Okay, so that is the error message. Okay. So that's the error message what we'll be getting. Now what we do, the fourth condition is when we enter lesser number of columns and values, but both will be same. So that the summary is that column number and value number should be same. So what happens when the table has total 7 columns, but insert query is being used only for 6 columns. So what happens to the 7th column, right? What only for 6 columns. So it can happen. We can see an example for that. Let's say we'll just copy this again. So I'll just mention here as error conditions, error, right? Now here what happens, we remove the department, okay, and this query will work fine because we are inserting something and we are having 6 a column and 6 values we are entering. So this will execute correctly. You can see the green tick here, it got executed correctly. But what happens in the department? If we do select star from department, what will we have in the Sana's department? So this usually will enter as, there's a value which is called null. So null will be entered. So if I just do select star from employee again, so if you can see here, the 11th row, Sana, it got a null entry. So null is as a value here now. So we didn't enter anything, right? So it took null. So that is another condition. I'll put it in the notes. Table has 7 columns, but insert query is used only for 6 columns. In that case, for the 7th column, null will be entered as the value. Or whatever column you're not entering. Null will be entered as a value. Cool. So that's about the case wherein we don't actually enter the column name in the insert query. Now, what happens when we give wrong data type? It can be possible, right? So let's say when I'm trying to do insert query again. Now, I'm putting an insert query statement again, but we'll be putting wrong data types. Okay, so what I'm doing, here we go. Here I'm trying to put, so we know that ID we had entered as integer, isn't it? So I'm trying to insert another data, and now we're giving ID as ABC. But we have put it as an integer, isn't it? So it will throw an error because the data type is wrong here. So I'll just run this query. And you can see here, unknown column ABC in the field list. Because in that case, the data type match didn't happen and it couldn't, insert the data. So 5th condition is where incorrect data type is tried to enter. Okay, so in that case, what will happen? We'll get an error because there will be a data type mismatch and will not be able to insert. So any data type you're mismatching. So varchar, if you're putting integers, of course it will take, because varchar accepts both integer and characters. But if you are putting integer as the data type while creating the table, and while inserting you're putting some ABC, it won't accept because it's an error condition. So I'll just write this is also error condition. Okay, so that was about insert query. That's all in today's session. In the next upcoming session, we'll learn a lot about group by, order by, and more on MySQL. Till then, thank you.